Number 26, Caleb Dupree. Number 27, Francis Quashi. The Cougars are coached by Josh Oakley. They're assisted by Brent Sorg, Matthew Brown, and Abe Bond. And now, here's the starting lineup for your Taylor Trojans. Starting in goal. Number 16, Jack McNeil. Number 17, Jackson Hoosier. And number 21, Matt Harrell. Trojans are coached by Gary Ross and assisted by Jude Johansson.
Good evening and welcome here to Turner Stadium on the campus of Taylor University for tonight's men's soccer Crossroads League matchup between the Spring Arbor Cougars and the Taylor Trojans. My name is Rick Johnston. Before we get to tonight's contest, we do want to take a moment to remember the passing of former Taylor men's soccer player Andrew Lutke-Hans. Hans was a graduate of the class of 2018 and came back after beating cancer to return with his classmates and his teammates in the fall of 2017. I was honored and privileged to be able to tell his story in a feature called Keep Truckin', Don't Quit, and I still wonder why. Hans and I didn't really know each other very well, and I asked him one day after practice if we could let me do a feature on him. He said yeah, without even thinking twice. He was 25 years old. He passed away 2 days ago. The seniors on this year's Taylor team were freshmen during Hans' last season here as a member of the Taylor men's soccer team. We send our thoughts and prayers to the Lutke-Hans family, his wife's family, and the Taylor men's soccer family tonight. We will, tonight and through the rest of the men's soccer season, we'll be dedicating our broadcast in the memory of Andrew Lutke-Hans. Well, his mates coming off of a win on Saturday 2-1 at Goshen. They take on number 12 Spring Arbor tonight. The Cougars 3-2-1 in the Crossroads League with 10 points. The Trojans 2-5 with 6 points. And a familiar face on the other side of the field tonight for the Trojans. It's number 12 Zoltan Sorani. The Hungarian spent his first season here at Taylor before trying to pursue a professional career and then wound up at Spring Arbor a year ago. And he was a spectacular player as a freshman, and he was just as spectacular a season ago as a junior. Josh Oakley leads SAU. He's in his second season. The Trojans led by 17th-year head man Gary Ross. Taylor's still in search of their first home win of the year. They're 0-5 here at Turner Stadium this year. Spring Arbor 1-1 away from SAU. Trojans in their home whites with the purple pinstripes and the purple numbers. Spring Arbor in the road blues with white numbers and white letters, and they have the highlighter yellow shorts to go with the navy blue socks tonight. Taylor goes from left to right to start. Joaquin Hansen, this week's Taylor Athlete of the Week, is in the goal to our left. Pressing it forward, Cole Russell for SAU, taken away by Jackson Hoosier of Taylor. Up to Holwerda, then far side back to Hoosier once again as Taylor tries to press the ball forward. One of the top scoring teams in the Crossroads League, 8 goals this year for SAU. They've allowed just 6. The Trojans, meanwhile, have scored 8 themselves, but they've given up 20 this year to their opponents. Parker Bender operating in midfield, plays it back. A dangerous ball here to Francis Kwashi, but is able to keep the ball at his feet and then get it back to Bender. Holwerda got his legs in front of a pass. It squirts all the way to the far side to Tyler Green. Long ball in, Hoosier step for step, long one here, just misses the near side post on a nice try from Cole Russell of SAU. First shot of the night goes to the Cougars. And the shot from Russell hit nobody else. And it'll be a goal kick here for Joaquin Hansen, the 5'9 senior out of Chile. And Hansen lays it down to the far side. And Alex Gallup up to Partain, who had the game winner for Taylor Saturday at Goshen, off a nice feed from Webby Peary. Gallup now finds Partain on the far side. Too far for Holwerda, but coming back to get it, Paul McBride. Little sweep on through to Holwerda. Here comes Peary. Big dribble. He's got McBride to his left. Big play in. McBride offside by a hair as the flag comes in the air on the near side, just to the dismay of some of the Taylor students in the bleachers down below us tonight. Good chance there for the Trojans. McBride was a little too quick on those steps. Got behind the defense before the ball could be played. And the offside flag is in the air. Christopher Banfie's the keeper on the other side for SAU. He's a 6'2 junior out of Ontario, Canada. Hoosier with Sorani on his right hip. Back to Hansen, left edge of the box. Shakes away from Sorani and curls one up to Holwerda about 10 yards inside midfield. Holwerda, fancy spinning footwork, cannot get away from Sorani. And the ball knocked out on the near side. It'll be Bender to throw it in here for Spring Arbor. Need into the air by SAU. McNeil got his head on it for Taylor. Gallup tries to head it forward. Cut down to Shefku. And his shot wide to the near side will be off target. It is a matchup for Taylor Athletics tonight against those teams whose colors are predominantly blue and yellow. The women's soccer team up at Spring Arbor tonight, and the Taylor volleyball team taking on Marion down in Indianapolis. You can hear the wind rustling. It's more than rustling. It's blowing hard from right to left. That is in the face of Taylor here in this opening half as SAU applies a pressure in the back. They can't get a good clearance as Bender holds it in. Hardy comes from behind, pokes it away. Peary collides with Russell. A play on is called. Serrani trying to get loose, and he's smothered on his shot by Hansen as Serrani looks up to the sky for an answer. And the ball squirts free far side. Here's James McBride accelerating. Almost overran it, tried to work it to the middle, and Holwerda steps in, fell down. Here comes McBride pushing forward. Holwerda tried to flick it on, it's back heel kicked. Here comes Hoosier trying to bust his way in. Partain almost let her rip, and just punching it away on the far side is Christopher Banfi of SAU. The bouncing ball found the feet of Partain, and he let one go with that left foot, just missing, giving Taylor an early 1-0 advantage. And the Trojans will have their first corner of the night coming from the far side. It'll be taken by Owen Hardy. Left hand in the air. Hardy will play his right foot into it. Again, the wind going from our right to our left. McNeil back heel kick. Couldn't find the backside as Serrani tries to clear it away. Peary's header right back towards the top of the box. McNeil will swing it back in towards the top of the penalty area. And SAU will try to get rid of it. They'll play it to the near side. And here comes Bender sprinting forward with McNeil about to pounce. Bender circles back. A little flick on here by Shefku. Wanted Serrani, taken away by Matt Harold. It played off of Serrani's knee. And McNeil will throw it in on the near side, but that wind picking up mightily here as we're 6 minutes into the opening half. Flicked forward for the Trojans. Holwerda tried to knock it down, could not find as Swan able to step in, and now Taylor's trying to play it back. A little fake out from Harold just outside of midfield. Nice little pass from Hardy, but stepping in front and intercepting is Shefku for SAU. Then Shefku takes out Hardy. Both players come up looking for a foul, and it will be deaf ears coming from our lead official. Hardy a back heel flick. McNeil into space. Harold tried to work it forward. Shefku with a slide tackle. It's turned over, and now Shefku will step across midfield, but McNeil steps in front. The ball pinballs around and eventually comes to the left side of the center circle with Quinn Partain of Taylor. Nice pass from Harold. This one up to James McBride. Wanted to slip it on to Holwerda. Couldn't get enough juice on it to best him in. And SAU will work on a counter far side. Here's James McBride hustling back. Tried to step in front, but a ball goes out as they were trying to connect. SAU was with Procopio. Three shots to one in favor of SAU, each team with one shot on goal here tonight. Russell tries to take it away from Harold, who lays it back to Hoosier for TU. Hoosier pops one short, high in the air. Hardy comes hustling back and gets underneath before that ball goes out of play. Serrani knocks it out, and Taylor will throw it in front of their own bench. Serrani has definitely added a lot more muscle since he was here on the Taylor campus 3 years ago. Still just as fast as he was when he was a freshman. Hardy near edge, a little give and go near side with Peary. The lanky freshman legs it out, looks up, tries to center one, and knocks it back to Hardy, steps forward, dribble, little slip on through, too much juice for Holwerda, and that pass off the right side of Hardy's boot will go out of play. The Trojans very creative here in the offensive area, here in the opening handful of minutes, 8 minutes into half one. And a goal kick here for Banfi of SAU. It's been a beautiful day here on the Upland campus. Temperatures in the mid-70s. Fall will start to take hold here starting tomorrow with temperatures no higher than the low 60s, upper 50s. Holwerda works it on to his high school classmate Partain. Near side, this will be Paul McBride. Sends one back into the air, curls it back. Did it go out across the end line? It did not. As it rode the wind, curled all the way, and it's finally kicked out of bounds far side off of Taylor. And Spring Arbor's got a throw in on the right sideline. A heavy wind here is what blew that ball from going out to going back in. On the cross on the end line from P. McBride. SAU slicing forward as they carry to the middle. Long pass in. Hansen comes in, top of the box. He'll scoop it up cleanly. SAU wanted to find Serrani, but he was too far behind the play to make any stab at it. Near sideline for Taylor and Hardy. 2 men there. Push down from behind. Pops back to his feet. The ball finds the feet of Harold to McNeil. Back to Harold. He'll flick it on near side as Hardy will leg it out and just throw his right foot in front. He's got Holwerda running and might catch him in stride. Holwerda cuts, picks up the ball back to the trailing Hardy. Big first touch. He'll get fancy with a flick, but then he kicks it too hard. He did a little stutter step and almost broke free, but that ball hit his toe on the right boot and went screaming across the end line before Hardy could do work with it. And so we have another goal kick here for Christopher Banfi of SAU. A rocket to the defensive end for Taylor. Hoosier got his knees on it. The ball squirts to the near side, and Harold lays it down to his freshman classmate Hoosier. Russell at midfield for SAU. He turns it right over to Owen Hardy. A little two-step to get away from trouble. Between the legs of Peary on the pass from Hoosier, and now here comes James McBride. Far side to Partain as he cuts in from the left. Partain dancing with it, trying to get to the end line. Left-footed shot is blocked. They'll go across the end line, and here comes corner kick number 2 of the night for the home team. A much more aggressive bunch for Taylor here in the opening, almost 11 minutes of action against the number 12 team in the country, Spring Arbor. They have been the class of the men's soccer side of the Crossroads League for some time now. They used to be led by a Taylor alum. Here comes Hardy from the far corner once again. It'll come into the right of the keeper, Banfi. An in-swinger here, punched away by Banfi into open space near side. The only one there is Russell. Wants to spin away from Harold. Russell with the head of steam, the senior out of Michigan. Stops and lost it as Peary scoops it up, and now Peary will jog forward. Wanted Paul McBride, deflected back to Peary as he keeps moving it forward. Far side to Hardy with Partain curling behind him. Little flick into space. There's Partain. Sends one back to the middle, and it's deflected out once again by SAU. This time by Ben Besteman. So corner kick number 3 of the night for the home team, as they've been the much more aggressive team here in the last handful of moments. Fans continuing to file in here to Turner Stadium on a cool, breezy fall evening. Hardy, a low one, curling in, deflected on, and this one goes out of play before it could get on frame. Goal kick upcoming for SAU. Banfi's already got a really strong leg, but with this 15 to 20 mile an hour wind at his back, he can really, really boom it. He does that again right here. Deflected down to the middle, SAU pushing it forward. This is Caleb Dupree. Wanted to work it back to one of the captains, Tyler Green. Partain dancing with it, tried to turn it up far side, deflected out off of Dupree, who was there defending. And Taylor throws it back to Jackson Hoosier as they'll build from the back. Again, the wind in Taylor's face as it goes from right to left does the wind here in half one. Peary playing with much more confidence. And the freshman almost thought it was going to be a foul against him. Stopped playing as Shefku got back to his feet. His pass taken away by Hardy. Holwerda edging his way in, and then Holwerda tackled, but they'll call Holwerda for the foul as Parker Bender laying down on the turf holding his mouth. He and Holwerda got tangled up, and they give the foul to Holwerda. As you can hear the Taylor students down below us voicing their disagreements with the call against Holwerda. Bender, 5'10 junior out of Lake Orion, Michigan. He'll come and check things out with Taylor athletic trainer Joe Walter. Give him a tissue to hold to the mouth. Make sure there's no blood there. He'd like some water to rinse out his mouth. As Procopio stands over ready to take the free kick here. So Bender checks the tissue, rinses out his mouth with some H2O, throws the water bottle back to his bench, blows his nose. Always good to not have snot in your nostrils, helps you breathe better. And they're going to have Bender stay off the field and then he'll be let on once play resumes. Again, free kick near side, Procopio, 2 yards inside midfield. Right now, angling like he's not going to play it towards the goal, even with the strong wind at his back. And now here comes Bender back onto the pitch. And SAU will just play this one back to the defense and Kwashi. Bestaman, as SAU goes from right to left in blue. To the middle in Shefku. Near side wanted Serrani, pass too short. McNeil headed it down. Peary wanted to kick it down with his foot instead, headed it down with his forehead. And now Harold will control in the back for TU as they go from left to right and white. They curl one far side to Gallup. Taylor playing without Cole Gilliam tonight. Have to sit out one game after getting a red card on Saturday. James McBride with 3 defenders around him. Couldn't turn away cleanly. It was deflected down. And the loose ball scooped up by Matt Harold. Wanted to play it back, jumped into a defender. Play on is called as Harold keeps moving near side as the SAU player that was barreled into by Harold gets back with palms to the sky looking for help. That will not come. Peary with a fancy move will go far side to Partain as that gives the Taylor fans something to cheer about. And then Partain whistled for a foul as Tyler Green went pirouetting in the air after connecting with Partain's leg. And again, the Taylor students disagree here. Partain will be talked to by our lead official. It definitely looked like from our vantage point, Partain was trying to play the ball. Maybe held his leg out there just a hair too long. But are trying to play the ball down, and that sent Green spiraling in the air. And now the Trojans will apply pressure on the defensive end against SAU as Bestaman will move forward. Long pass in. Russell trying to get behind the D. Pass too long and into the hands. It's scooped up by the keeper, Hansen. Gallup far sideline. Again, 3 shots to 2 in favor of SAU. But Taylor had so many good opportunities there in a quick little minute stretch. Just could not find one to the back of the net. Loose ball poked in. 3 players collide. SAU trying to come away with it. And Harold whistled for the foul after he ushers down Swain to the turf. Or Swan to the turf. Third foul against the home team here in the opening half. Still no fouls called against Spring Arbor. A quarter hour into this opening half, a breezy and cool evening here in Upland, Indiana. 0-0 between number 12 Spring Arbor and Taylor, with the Cougars having the wind at their back as they go from right to left here in half number 1. Serrani and Procopio stand over this free kick from the far side, 20 yards inside midfield. Procopio flicks it into the box, headed away by the leaping Matt Harold. This one going towards the end line. Serrani trying to beat Partain to it. He did. And it'll be a corner kick for Spring Arbor from the far side. Good play there by Serrani. Quick play in by SAU. This one lifted into the air. It'll miss from the near side post. And McNeil and Hardy watch it bounce out of play. A very quick, blistering restart there for the visitors. And then flicked on even quicker by Procopio. Trying to ride the win here. Serrani kicked this ball out of play for SAU. And Taylor will have a goal kick here with Joaquin Hansen. Again, with Spring Arbor applying pressure in the defensive end. We've seen more and more Taylor opponents do this in the last few weeks. Hansen has to kick this one into the wind. Hardy comes in trying to slice in front of Bender. And Bender will work back and get on the near side. Bender back to Kwashi in the defensive end for SAU. Big first step to elude P. McBride. Kwashi's boot works it up to Russell. Quick passing near side, Serrani. McNeil hustling back. Serrani works back to his right foot, left edge of the box, lays it back to a trailer here. Right-footed rising shot. Oh, it's tapped over the crossbar. Hansen almost got it, and then Russell almost kicked Hansen in the stomach. A high rising shot that Hansen snuffed out and keeps the match even at 0. A goal kick here for Hansen with 28 minutes left to go here in half number 1. He's got to kick into this screaming upland wind. Holwerda flicks it over the defender, trying to knock it down to Peary. Couldn't get there, but the pass was able to get back to on Peary before Swan could play it forward. Now Swan hustling in, slips one through the Russell. Near side of the box, Russell left-footed shot. That's easy work for Hansen as Russell didn't have his feet underneath of him. Three saves for Joaquin Hansen. And the goal kick blown out of the wind as Joaquin unhappy back in his goal box. Brian Matipa and John Alsate warming up on the near sideline for TU. Hoosier elevates in the air, heads out of play as he was defending Russell down below us. Russell's headband fell off, so that long brown hair blowing in the breeze with every step he takes. He wrestles McNeil to the ground, and SAU call for their first foul tonight. Taylor with a quick restart here as the Taylor students have filled the bleachers down below us, and they are very rowdy here tonight, just like we saw the packed house for the volleyball match for Taylor against Spring Arbor a week ago. And Taylor students were rowdy then. Good takeaway by Shefku, wanted to work it forward, could not find Tyler Green. Back to Serrani, long left-footed shot, and Hansen dives to his right, got a piece of it. Russell comes back, and this one will go into the back of the net off the deflection from Joaquin Hansen. Hansen made a stellar first stab at it, deflected it back as he dove to his right or left, and then the ball found Russell's feet, and he put it in underneath Hansen. It's 1-0 SAU with 26-26 remaining here in half one. For Cole Russell, that is his team-leading 5th goal of the season. Came in with the only SAU player with more than 16 shots on the year. Only 3 players all season for SAU into double-figure shots. Those are Russell, Taylor, and Serrani. So 7 shots and 5 of them on goal here for Spring Arbor, and Russell's 5th goal of the year for the senior out of Michigan has given Spring Arbor a 1-0 lead here with about 26 minutes remaining here in half one. Left edge Partain, dancing with it as he moves back. Trying to shake away from his defender in Kwashi. Played on off the end line, and Taylor's got a corner far side of the field. This will be corner number 4 of the night for the Trojans. Just 2 shots on goal tonight for Taylor. Both of them have been on goal. But they definitely have the advantage in corner kicks 4-1, trying to take advantage of that better corner kick number right here if they could. Again, far side corner. This will be coming to the right of the keeper, Banfield. That's where all the corners have come in tonight. This one low and easily headed away by Parker Bender of SAU. Nobody there as the ball rolls out on the far sideline. Taylor will throw it in across from us. Partain somehow slipped through about 3 different SAU players, but couldn't work it on to P. McBride as Kwashi took it away. And then McBride pushes Kwashi down, and a card will come out here, a yellow one against Quinn Partain. So the yellow card comes out against Partain. The Trojans have been the much more physical team here in the first half. The Taylor players had been warned a couple of different times, and the card comes out here against Partain. With just about 25 minutes remaining here in half number 1. Kwashi in the defensive end for SAU. Long pass up to Shefku, trying to elude Harold and Holwerda of TU. Pass off target. Taylor intercepts. Holwerda goes back to James McBride, who circles in the center circle. Harold wants to work back to his left, passing back to James McBride. James almost had it got caught between his feet. Nice pass from McNeil up to the aforementioned Jay McBride. Trying to angle between the defender's feet, could not. McNeil comes in to help moving it forward, and he dinks it down near side to Hardy. He's got Holwerda. Nice stop and start move that draws some oohs and ahs from the Taylor faithful. Perry fakes to his right, circles over that left shoulder, and will lay it back to James McBride, who sends it far sideline to Gallup. Holwerda was lurking up top, but he was too far offside for the ball to be played to him. Partain sends a screamer in here, deflected back to Peary. Couldn't turn on one there. McBride overruns it. Peary tries to keeps pressing it forward, deflected off of his shin, racing towards the far side, and Peary will prevent it from going out of play. Partain trying to work on that far sideline. Fancy footwork goes off of SAU, and Taylor will throw it in from deep in their offensive end on the far side of the field. Partain throws it back to Gallup. On to James McBride, running towards the middle and lays it back to midfield and Jackson Hoosier. Harold to Hoosier, who retreats with Russell applying pressure. And back to the box it goes, and Hansen. Hansen good with his feet. Russell trying to make life difficult. Deals it out far side to Gallup. Coming into pressure was Green. Green and Gallup collide, or make that Quashie and Gallup collide. SAU begs for a call that will fall on deaf ears. Partain to Gallup, who rockets one forward, cut down by James McBride of Taylor. Into Peary, wants to box out Bender and trying to turn. Peary lost his footing, got it back, pirouettes away, but held in the offensive end by SAU. Shefku felt the pressure from Peary and goes all the way back to Quashie in the defensive end. Quashie running away from Holwerda. Quashie sprinting up near side. Nice pass into Russell, too far for him, and Hansen able to snag it. What a good look there from Quashie to the cutting and the speedy Cole Russell. Quick restart defensive end. Peary wanted to work it back to Harold, and hanging back and intercepting the pass was Shefku for SAU. Bender almost lost his footing. Holwerda and Paul McBride there to help. And then from behind, Bender called for the foul and gets up, and he is jumping mad, and here's a yellow card against Parker Bender. And that will send the Taylor students into hysterics down below us. So a yellow card aside, SAU leading 1-0 here with 22:35 left to go here in the opening stanza. Taylor in the tied for 4th place in the cross division with St. Francis. They have the tiebreaker over the Cougars. And now play will be stopped again as Quashie and Paul McBride were locked up, and the two were given a warning here from our lead official. And they're also talking things over with our official on the near sideline as well. McNeil collides with Serrani, able to get through the challenge. Up to the near side, too far for Hardy. McNeil slaps the turf in frustration. And Spring Arbor will throw it in towards the end of their own bench down below us. They try to throw it into Russell. Back heel flick into space. Serrani tried to work it forward. Wanted to find Quashie. Headed away by James McBride, and Taylor will set things up with Gallup on the left side back in the defensive end. Partain coming to help. Hits the brakes as Quashie comes back to mark him. Gallup to Hoosier, and then all the way back just inside the 18 to Joaquin Hansen, the Taylor keeper. A long pass up to Owen Hardy, dribbles back once, wants to elude Serrani. Knocks it back to Hoosier. Wanted Hardy, played it behind him. Shefku intercepts, cutting in front were the Trojans. Russell trying to get there. Taylor can't clear it, held in by SAU, dribbling far side, long range shot. Hansen will let this one just squirt by on the far side, on the near side post on the try from Procopio. Eighth shot of the night for Spring Arbor. Taylor still sitting on there too, which they got about 10 minutes ago or so. Partain with pressure on his back. That's the captain Green. Couldn't go all the way to the near sideline. One of the whole word up, stepping in front and intercepting is Bender. His pass through the middle of the field. Nobody home. In blue, Hansen gets it in quickly. Karate kicks one to the near sideline as Hardy has a go off of his shoulder. He'll be called for the handball. And it's a free kick for Bender and SAU. And again, SAU wasting little time to set things up. They just put the ball down and go. And any set piece opportunity. Off-target pass, Partain intercepted it, couldn't find Holwerda. And coming in to take it away and keep it moving for SAU is Tyler Green. Shefku goes back to Besteman. Partain hustling after him, and they work the ball up to Green, the 6'1" senior out of Commerce, Michigan. Through ball into space, McNeil and Serrani there. Both players check up as they see Hansen will be the one there to get to it first. Play to the near side. Hardy wants to elude Serrani. Hardy collides with Serrani. Hardy will take Serrani down and get called for the foul. Fourth one against Taylor. And now Hardy will be given a yellow card, as it seems like the official giving out yellow cards like Oprah Winfrey gives out cars on her show. Third card of the opening half, not even 25 minutes in. And Taylor head coach Gary Ross comes over to get an explanation. So it wasn't the initial play, just like on the card that Bender got, it was the reaction from Hardy after the whistle blew, as both vehemently showed they disagreed with the whistle coming against them and the yellow card issued to the two of them. Holwerda spins Hardy around so they can see the directions for Hansen. Serrani and Procopio both stand over this one. Procopio took the last one as Serrani ran over. Same thing here. Procopio, right foot curler. Into the box, still loose. Gallup trying to clear and does. Working to the middle is going to be Paul McBride. He's got Partain running in front. McBride hits the brakes. Pass to the near side. Holwerda was cutting to the middle. And sprinting his guts out to the near side is Hardy to keep the ball from going out of play and going back to Spring Arbor. P. McBride back to Peary. Felt pressure from his left. Tries to elude it as he dances towards the near side. Back to McNeil. Up into space and Hardy. Went off of his knee. Hardy trying to work through in traffic. And will dink it off to James McBride as he sprints up the left side. Far sideline Partain. 1-0 SAU. Nice pass, left edge of the box. James McBride tried to work it on. He couldn't find a teammate, but it was deflected out once again, this time by Swan. And Taylor will have their 5th corner kick here of the opening half. Here comes John Alzate in for TU. He replaces Hardy. Alzate, a 5'9" sophomore out of Columbia. So Hardy will not take this corner. It's going to be Matt Harold to take it for TU on the far corner. 1-0 the SAU lead after the goal from Cole Russell, his team leading 5th of the year. Harold, right hand in the air, right foot into the ball, a high one that gets caught in the air. Hoosier tries to head it back in. There's McNeil in the box, and it rose and went over the crossbar as it was deflected by someone for Spring Arbor. The fact that McNeil even got that ball anywhere near the goal was a minor miracle, and the fact that it had a chance to go in doubles the impressiveness. So a corner from the near side, Partain with that beautiful left foot, and headed away by SAU. We'll do it all again. As it was Parker Bender getting his forehead in front of that one. 18.5 minutes to go here in half number 1. Taylor down 1-0 to Spring Arbor. Partain near side, left foot in swinger, headed back by SAU, and this pinball around and in! It's in! The Trojans have tied it at 1! It's Matt Harold on the near side post! He headed it home, and with 18:21 to go in the first half, it's 1-1! If it's Harold, that's his first goal of his career. Our 2 officials talking on the near side. Spring Arbor's coaching staff saying it should be offside against the Trojans. And take the goal off the board. It's going to be a goal kick, I think, for Spring Arbor. And so it looked like the Trojans had tied the match at 1. And now Taylor head coach Gary Ross, a step or 2 across midfield, he would like an explanation. Holwerda trying to get an explanation from our lead official. Lutrim Shefku trying to explain things to the Taylor bench. Now here comes the lead official to talk things over with Taylor head man Gary Ross. So it remains 1-0 SAU. McNeil coming over to try to offer his 2 cents. Taylor assistant coach Jude Johansson waves him away. And Taylor head coach Gary Ross not happy with the explanation he's getting here. It looks like it all pins on our official on the near side. As Brian Matipa and Clay Vanderkolk come in for the Trojans, they're being waved in by our lead official, but they aren't sure what's going on. Holwerda and Paul McBride check out. So it looks like they'll say that Harold was the one offside after the ball was played back to him because of how far he was either behind the goal line or near the near side post. So it remains 1-0. As here comes Hoosier trying to get physical with Russell. Hoosier plays it up near side. McNeil, nice move to try to run through Shefku and comes back as the ball stops on a dime near side. Here comes Alzate. Near side Matipa trying to body with the much bigger Kwashi. And Kwashi plays it back to his keeper, Banfi. Off the chest, Harold lets it go out of play wisely. As SAU will play it out near sideline. Actually, he'll stay in. McNeil tried to play it in to Matipa. Took a weird hop past Matipa's knee. And Spring Arbor will have the goal kick here with that wind roaring at their back. And now the Taylor bench down to us screaming about something. Well, it's been safe to say neither team has been too happy with the officiating. We still have a whole second half and almost 17 minutes left to go in the first half. We've had 3 cards here in the opening half so far. A disallowed goal against the Trojans. McNeil trucks through Serrani. And there's foul number 5 against Taylor here in the opening half, make it their 6th. And Serrani shares a laugh with his former head coach, Gary Ross. Remember, Serrani, the Hungarian, spent his freshman season here at Taylor and was a dynamic player for the Trojans. SAU on the far side, they couldn't connect Quashie and Green. Actually, make it Dupree and Green, excuse me. And Taylor throws it in, but there's heavy pressure from Spring Arbor in their attacking half. Green gets it back for the Cougars, far side to Procopio. Nice pirouette by Green, couldn't get away cleanly from Harold, but Green will curl this one towards the near sideline and Musa. Matt Musa out of Chesterfield Township, Michigan. McNeil and Serrani, they both bang shoulders. Taylor wants a foul against Serrani. But the play on is called as McNeil was able to stay on his feet. Vanderkolk threading one through. Matipa pushed out of the way by the bigger Quashie. Matipa fighting for space with Musa. Deflected off of Matipa's hand, and it goes out. And Spring Arbor throws it back to Quashie, who will work things from the defensive end and out of the middle of the field in Besteman. Besteman setting one up. He has got Green on an all-out sprint on the right side. Green hustling, he won't get there, then out of frustration, kicks it off of the chain link fence to our left. 15.5 minutes remaining here in an exciting opening stanza. Cole Russell scored in the 19th minute to give SAU a 1-0 lead. It looked like Taylor had scored in the 27th minute to even it at 1. But the referee said that Harold was offside when he headed the ball in, all the way on the near side post, standing close to the end line. They'll say that he was offside since he was behind the farthest defender. When he tried to head it in and it curled around and nestled home on the inside the far side post. And the goal to our right, but it's waved off. And Taylor rains down by 1. Big match for the Trojans. They try to get some space between themselves and St. Francis. Remember, the Trojans do have the tiebreaker right now after defeating SAU in double overtime a couple of weeks ago. As Partain trying to swim through Green on the far side, Partain called for the foul. And that one's pretty easy as Partain looked like a pass rusher on the football field, trying to swim through an offensive lineman. Swan with Vanderkolk on his left hip, pressing forward to Green, and then Green will knock it back to Quashie, who is a big fella at 6'2". SCU does not list weight, but he's probably close to maybe 200 pounds. As a strongly built young man, you don't really see guys that are normally that big back on the defensive end for. He might be 175. Looking at Jackson Hoosier for Taylor, they're both about the same size. But it's a big man that can really rumble up from the defensive end like we saw earlier in this half. Banfi, the keeper for SCU, there's pressure all around him. Gets it to Quashie near side, ball caught between his feet as Alsate sprints out and tries to force Quashie into a mistake. A right foot to Serrani, calmly plays it down to Shefku. Up to the near side, try to throw his foot out and knock it down was Musa. But he couldn't get there in time, and McNeil will throw it in for T with 2 subs waiting to enter for Spring Arbor at the next opportunity. 13:20 remaining here in the opening half, a 1-0 Spring Arbor lead for the number 12 team in the country. As here comes Aiden Taylor along with Stephen Geip. First 2 subs tonight for Spring Arbor. They replace Lutram Shefku and Caleb Dupree. Dupree has been very active offensively for Spring Arbor tonight. Alsate takes it away. Harold to the center circle. Partain gliding forward. Hits the brakes. Wants to get away from Quashie. Partain legging it forward. He's got one of the McBride's far side. That's James McBride. Green marks him, give and go left side Partain, trying to get to the end line, turns and centers it, falls down. SAU tries to clear. Did they get it off before it got across the end line? They did. So Taylor will have a throw-in on the far side as that ball was about 2 revolutions away from giving Taylor their 8th corner kick of the opening stanza. Peary hits the brakes, trying to sweep through 2 defenders, lays it back to James McBride. Quick pass to Matipa from Partain for Taylor. Matipa measuring, and it rolls all the way back to Gallup up near midfield. Back to Matipa, sprinting. His arm was tugged, and there's the whistle against the newcomer, Aiden Taylor. 3rd foul against the visitors here in half number 1. As we dip below 12 minutes remaining in this one in the first half. Taylor down 1-0 with Partain standing over the free kick on the far side of the field. And now they'll stop play because the SAU player too close by about a step for the free kick. Did not give the appropriate 10 yards, standing about 9 or 9.5. Big long strides from Partain. This is a beautiful ball, and it goes through the feet. Hoosier misses it, still loose inside the 18 as the ball went right between the hands of Banfi. Hoosier had the whole goal to shoot at and whiffed it about 8 yards out, and Taylor again eerily close to tying our match at 1. Peary pressing forward, tries to get to the end line, dancing with it, sends it back, wanted Vanderkolk just a foot in the way. It finds it back to Matipa, who turns and rises and shoots one, and that one sails over the crossbar. A heart-stopping few moments with Taylor players and fans with hands on their heads. The whole goal, and Hoosier just had his feet tangled underneath and could not bury it. And Banfi probably sighing a big sigh of relief. It was an easy play for Banfi. The ball just went right between the white gloves. And it remains a 1-0 SAU lead, as now confusion about who should get the ball. McNeil thought it went off of SAU. He's unhappy. But Musa will throw it in for Spring Arbor in front of their own bench down below us. This first half has had just about everything except a Taylor goal, but enough that some of the Taylor students down below have been standing as Peary draws a foul against the visitors. 4th foul against Spring Arbor here in half 1. And here comes Joaquin Hansen to maybe take this free kick, or is he going to check up? Nope, he's going to jog forward. He got an assist earlier this year from about this distance. As we tick below 10 minutes to go here in the opening half. There's a whole gaggle of humanity standing on the far side of the field. Hansen just rotates the ball back just a smidge. Both hands are in the air. Looks to the box, sends it in. This one towards the far side. Vanderkolk heads it on. Banfi, it goes off of him, and he tackles McNeil in the box, and we're going to get a penalty kick. Banfi came in and tackled McNeil from behind, and it's going to be a penalty kick for the Trojans. Banfi can't believe it. He's going to get a card, a yellow card, as he tore McNeil down inside the box, and it's a penalty kick for the home team. First penalty kick try of the season for the Trojans, and it looks like it's going to be Quinn Partain to take it. Taylor had a goal taken off the board, and now our 2 officials are going to talk again. These are the 2 guys that talked and took the goal off the board. If they take the yellow card away here and take the penalty kick away from the Trojans, the students in the bleachers down below us might right-out riot. The Taylor fans want a red card. Green, the captain, will talk to our lead official. Josh Oakley, the SIU head coach, down there talking with our 2 officials. That ball still on the dot, set up for a penalty kick. McNeil was taken down in the box, whether it was by Banfi or anybody else, was clearly just tackled in the box, and that's a penalty kick. So I'm not sure what the argument is right now. And now Taylor head coach Gary Ross and assistant coach Jude Johansson are going to walk all the way down. They would like to have an ear in this conversation as well, since it's and now here come the Taylor students because they would like an ear into this conversation as well. And sadly, the conversation breaks up right when Gary Ross gets down to the huddle to talk about this. Banffy's trying to explain that he was going for the ball and he came down and collided with McNeil. That's why he tackled him. I don't know about that. He initially went for the ball, but it looked like he extended those arms out, or someone extended those arms out and got McNeil on the shoulders and took him down. And so Banffy goes back to his goal, and I think we're going to have a penalty kick here for Taylor, with Partain, the presumed one to take it right now. So Taylor had a goal taken off the board once. They almost tied it earlier. And now Partain, with 9:34 remaining here in the opening half, will take Taylor's first penalty kick of the season, trying to even our match at 1, as Banffy hops up and down on the goal line, waving his arms from side to side. And Partain kicks his legs out. They back everyone else not involved in the PK here, back by a step or two. Partain, the left-footed dominated player. Spirit fingers in the air from the Taylor students. Partain wipes his nose on his right sleeve, skips to his right, runs forward, kicks, and we're tied at 1 as Partain scores his second goal in as many matches, and Turner Stadium has come back to life. Second goal of the year for Partain. He's Taylor's leader in points with 2 scores and 2 assists. With 9:30 left to go here before halftime, our match is all square at 1. It is a cold, windy night tonight, but the Taylor students have come out in full force to cheer on the boys in purple and white tonight. So we'll see if Partain's tally gives some more juice to Taylor offensively. They've been pretty good here tonight at times. A dangerous pass here rolls all the way to the defensive end. Gallup calmly plays it, and off it goes to Hansen. James McBride trying to sidestep Swan to the far side of the goal scorer, Partain. Taken off his toe nicely by Green, the captain for SAU. Vanderkolk comes back. He trips up Green, and now Green slow to get back to his feet. 8th foul against Taylor here in the opening half. And a free kick from the far side here for Spring Arbor. (1-1) our score. Goal from Cole Russell in the run of play, and a penalty kick from Quinn Partain a few moments ago. This one sent into the box, backside, and Hansen watches it bounce away. Good eyes there from Hansen. A couple folks in the stands below us, and myself included, thought that ball might bounce off the turf back in towards the goal, but Hansen had the right read to know where the post was on the near side and read it perfectly to let that one just go out of play. Shots a little more even now, 8-7 in favor of SAU after being 8-2 for an eternity. And the shots in goal actually in favor of Taylor right now, 6-5 in that category. 4 saves for Hansen, 2 for Banffy. And remember, when we get to the second half, Taylor will have this wind that is very strong, about 15 to 20 miles an hour at their back. Partain wins the ball in the center circle. The ball caught some turf and didn't get all the way to the far side like he wanted. Green gets it. McNeil steps in front, trying to keep the ball away from the ever-dangerous Aiden Taylor. And now McNeil plays it up to Alsate. Matipa tried to get there, but stepping in front and deflecting it out nicely was Kwashi for Spring Arbor. Another interesting note, Taylor coaches Gary Ross and Jude Johansson had chairs up at Goshen on Saturday. They said they were very comfortable. They brought chairs down to sit in tonight, and I don't think they've sat in them once. Alsate to the middle, and Webby Peary. Left-footed rising shot, that one way too high. but Peary had the right idea trying to challenge Banfi from deep. Just got too much on it and too much underneath of it as it sailed high and wide towards the far side post. .640 and counting here in the opening half. And Banfi will kick this goal kick out of bounds near side. McNeil runs forward, begs for the ball, gets it as he quickly tries to restart. And because the defense was all in front of Matipa, McNeil was probably about 12 yards in front of where he should be. And so he'll be waved all the way back close to midfield. I like the aggressiveness. That's not a bad idea. Alsate taken out near side by Aiden Taylor. And that's a foul against Taylor as Alsate had his shoulder get caught as Taylor ran into him. 5th foul against Spring Arbor here in the first half. Alsate pops back to his feet. And Taylor, a strongly built kid there at 5'9". There's a lot of muscle there to throw around against the smaller Alsate. 5:45 and counting first half. Near side free kick for Quinn Partain, whose left foot has tied the match at 1 with a penalty kick about 4 minutes ago. Partain waving where he wants Matipa to go, who's on the near side of the field. And now Partain talking things over with Harold as the wind rolling the ball back on the near side. Harold a little bit too close, maybe about by a yard or two. But Partain's got to play this ball quick before the wind takes hold of that ball again. A low swinger into the box, and this time Banfi gets it, and then about 3 or 4 guys run into Banfi. It was Vanderkolk who made contact with Banfi, but a Spring Arbor player drove him in there. The SAU player's not happy about it, but one of their own created the contact between Vanderkolk and the keeper Banfi. A drop kick that rides the wind all the way to the other end of the field, back flicked on. Thankfully, Hansen the only one there for Taylor, as Hoosier had to go off the back of his skull, and Russell made a sprint towards the goal mouth. It was too far away as Alsate jumps and heads this one out of play near side. That was the best he could do with the kick from Hansen. Quick restart, quick throw in as Hoosier heads it towards the middle of the field. Serrani trying to joust with Gallup, the former teammates. And a handball begged for by TU will fall on deaf ears as the Serrani shot goes out of play. And Hansen will have a goal kick as we inch closer to 4 minutes remaining here in the first half. Nine shots aside, 7 on goal for Taylor, 5 for SAU. Vanderkolk flicks it back. Alsate puts his head down, could not get it away from Musa, who maneuvers back and plays it back to Besteman, whose long pass will miss everybody except the Taylor keeper Hansen, who squirts one off on the turf right back to where it came from. Hoosier left foots one back to the middle. Musa got his foot on it just inside midfield, eludes Vanderkolk as he jitterbugs towards the middle. Hoosier steps in front of the pass intended for Russell and deflects it high and towards the far side. Into the air goes Partain with Green and went off of Quinn. And Spring Arbor will throw it in with 3:22 and counting here in the first half. The match even at 1 goal apiece. Procopio to Green, to midfield, and then all the way back to Besteman, who's been very active, setting things up from the defensive end with Kwashi, who has the ball here. Long strides from the big fella as he crosses midfield, flicks one forward. Alsate cut it down. Kwashi and McNeil tangle, and Harold flicks it up just across the midline to Matipa. Vanderkolk running in the middle. Matipa trying to run away from Kwashi. To space near side. McNeil trying to sprint there. Just trying to get there in time. Besteman flicked it away, and McNeil hopped into the air and was able to avoid deflecting it out and sending it back to SAU. And McNeil will throw it in on the near sideline with 2:40 and ticking here in this first half. 1-1 our score between number 12 Spring Arbor and Taylor. McNeil throws it in. Alsate right edge of the box. Trying to deflect it away was SAU. Still loose on the turf. Musa almost missed it. Then a big right-footed boot by Taylor. But a foul called in the back. And a yellow card coming against Taylor's Clay Vanderkolk for maybe a dangerous play as he was too close to Aiden Taylor and didn't let Taylor come down cleanly on an aggressive boot from the back end. That's the 3rd yellow card against Taylor and only 2 against SAU here in this first half so far. Clock stops at 2:22 as SAU will build from the back with the match level at 1. Besteman overruns the ball. He and Matipa get tangled up. Besteman able to come back as he fought through the challenge of Matipa and finds Russell at midfield. Serrani dribbling forward to the middle, trying to be chased down from behind by Harold. Slips it on through near side, has a man, almost overran it, trying to get back to his right foot. Shot was blocked by a kneeling Jack McNeil, and it's cleared away by Harold on the try from Stephen Geip. And then Taylor tries to clear it away to the center circle. Matipa only has SAU players back to his classmate Peary. Loops one nicely as it rides the wind and finds Partain. Partain trying to run away from Procopio with 100 seconds remaining here in the first half. Left side Partain, stutter step move, still trying to work through, trying to press it on. It went off of whom? It went off of SAU. And corner kick number 8 of the night, upcoming for Taylor with 86 seconds to go here in the first half. Partain was over it, but looks like they're going to let Matipa take it. McNeil signaling to slow things down as we inch closer to a minute remaining here in the first half. Taylor wants to not let SAU get any counters here in the final seconds, and Matipa won't play it in until we hit a minute remaining, and we have. A high in-swinger from the far side. Vanderkolk comes running in, headed to the near side, trying to deflect it out. SAU couldn't. Alzate knocks it down, deflected on by SAU. Hoosier tries to work it in. There's Partain, and he was offside by a couple of steps. And then Banfi comes in, shoves Partain down, and then Partain took exception to it. Partain's got to be careful. He already has a yellow card tonight. The lead official comes in and gestures angrily to have Partain get back to his feet. Quinn's got to be careful. Already with one yellow card tonight, you don't want to pick up your second and have your team have to play down a man with 20 seconds left in the first half or any time in the second half upcoming. Musa maneuvering back to Kwashi and to Besteman with Matipa right there, and he gets it away before Matipa could pounce. 7 seconds left. Partain thought about a long shot, plasted it behind Vanderkolk with 2 and 1. And that will be how an exciting first half comes to a close. 19th minute, goal scored by Cole Russell, his team leading 5th of the year, after the Trojans had one taken off the board for Matt Harold, and after Hoosier missed a wide open goal off a deflection and a misplay by Banfi. A yellow card against the keeper Banfi leads to a Partain penalty kick, and the Trojans have tied the match at 1. We head to halftime. It's Spring Arbor, the number 12 team in the country, won, and Taylor won, here on the Trojan Sports Network.
What limits you? Too small, too old, insecure, broken. You have no limits. Rethink your limits.
Join the Trojan Club today and support Taylor student athletes 12 months a year. The Trojan Club has 5 different levels of membership for you to choose from. You can join for as low as $150, all the way up to the Trojan MVP level for $1,500. Each level receives premiums, complimentary season tickets, as well as gifts from the athletic department. Members also receive special recognition during halftime of the annual Silent Night game. In recent years, members have helped supply the funds for a sports information position, purchasing equipment for teams and the athletic training staff, and providing broadcasts of Trojan athletics like the one you're enjoying right now. With the support of alumni and friends, the Taylor combination of spiritual growth, outstanding academics, and a highly competitive intercollegiate athletic program can continue. To join, call 765-998-5311 or log on to TaylorTrojans.com and click on the Trojan Club tab at the top of the homepage. The Trojan Club, supporting Taylor University student athletes.
to be your nephew's #1 fan. Holiday Inn Express. We're there, so you can be too.
Your heart? Well, your heart is everything to you and your body. And its favorite place to be is home. Marion General Hospital has been named a nationally accredited chest pain center, which is the highest accomplishment in cardiovascular care. We are proud to provide our community with a team of cardiac experts throughout MGH. From our ambulance and emergency room to our cardiovascular departments in partnership with our experienced local cardiologists and interventional cardiologists from St. Vincent's Medical Group. The same level of cardiovascular expertise in bigger cities at larger hospitals is available right here. Everyone has their expertise. At MGH, our expertise is your heart, bringing the best in the nation home to you. Your heart is in the right place at MGH.
Ivanhoe's has been serving Taylor students since 1965, when Ivan and Carol Slane purchased the restaurant. Located on Main Street, Ivanhoe's is less than a mile from the Taylor campus and is open 7 days a week. The menu features choices for lunch, dinner, as well as 100 different milkshakes and sundaes. Customers can find other dessert items as well. The staff is proud to support Taylor University and appreciates the support of Ivanhoe's through the years.
What limits you? Too small, too old, insecure, broken. You have no limits. Rethink your limits.
The decision you're making is about so much more than where you'll spend the next 4 years. It's about how you'll live the next 40. So let me break down the Taylor University experience. We integrate faith and learning to become well-rounded, lifelong learners, while delivering a deeper knowledge of our specific areas of study. Whether you're producing award-winning films, building satellites for NASA, or preparing for a national ethics debate, Taylor will push you to excel in your field. But excellence isn't always about having the right answers. Sometimes it's about asking the right questions. Taylor is interdenominational. That means we can't always fall back on specific church doctrine to settle issues. We rely on scripture and the dynamic nature of iron sharpening iron to better know the God who's not afraid of our question. Much of this happens in the small town of Upland, Indiana, the place where Taylor does life together. But don't let this small town fool you. The schedule is packed with things to do, and through these activities, faculty, staff, and students become more than individuals occupying the same address. They become a community. But this community isn't limited to the campus. We travel, boy do we travel. We are ranked as one of the top 10 schools in the country for overseas experiences. But it isn't just about the going. It's about the sharing of those experiences and being challenged by those who come to Upland as their international experience. Taylor is one of a few Christian colleges that expects all students to have a relationship with Jesus Christ. Now, this doesn't mean Taylor is a Christian Disneyland full of cardboard cutout perfection. Taylor is full of real people with real problems, and living together can get kind of messy. But in that mess, we take Jesus' call from John 13 seriously. We practice picking up our towel and dealing with the mess in each other's lives. We're not here just to follow the rules for 4 years. Instead, we hope to learn to live authentic lives, calling each other to lives of meaning. Every day, our focus remains on the 40, not just the 4. We'd love to show you more about Taylor. Come visit, sit in on a class, go to chapel, spend a night in a residence hall. Experience the difference for yourself.
When you need the fuel to be your nephew's #1 fan, Holiday Inn Express. We're there, so you can be too.
Your heart, well, your heart is everything to you and your body, and its favorite place to be is home. Marion General Hospital has been named a nationally accredited chest pain center, which is the highest accomplishment in cardiovascular care. We are proud to provide our community with a team of cardiac experts throughout MGH, from our ambulance and emergency room to our cardiovascular departments in partnership with our experienced local cardiologists and interventional cardiologists from St. Vincent's Medical Group. The same level of cardiovascular expertise in bigger cities at larger hospitals is available right here. Everyone has their expertise. At MGH, our expertise is your heart, bringing the best in the nation home to you. Your heart is in the right place at MGH.
Ivanhoe's has been serving Taylor students since 1965, when Ivan and Carol Slane purchased the restaurant. Located on Main Street, Ivanhoe's is less than a mile from the Taylor campus and is open 7 days a week. The menu features choices for lunch, dinner, as well as 100 different milkshakes and sundaes. Customers can find other dessert items as well. The staff is proud to support Taylor University and appreciates the support of Ivanhoe's through the years.
The decision you're making is about so much more than where you'll spend the next 4 years. It's about how you'll live the next 40. So let me break down the Taylor University experience. We integrate faith and learning to become well-rounded, lifelong learners, while delivering a deeper knowledge of our specific areas of study. Whether you're producing award-winning films, building satellites for NASA, or preparing for a national ethics debate, Taylor will push you to excel in your field. But excellence isn't always about having the right answers. Sometimes it's about asking the right questions. Taylor is interdenominational. That means we can't always fall back on specific church doctrine to settle issues. We rely on scripture and the dynamic nature of iron sharpening iron to better know the God who's not afraid of our question. Much of this happens in the small town of Upland, Indiana, the place where Taylor does life together. But don't let this small town fool you. The schedule is packed with things to do, and through these activities, faculty, staff, and students become more than individuals occupying the same address. They become a community. But this community isn't limited to the campus. We travel. Boy, do we travel. We are ranked as one of the top 10 schools in the country for overseas experiences. But it isn't just about the going. It's about the sharing of those experiences and being challenged by those who come to Upland as their international experience. Taylor is one of a few Christian colleges that expects all students to have a relationship with Jesus Christ. Now, this doesn't mean Taylor is a Christian Disneyland full of cardboard cutout perfection. Taylor is full of real people with real problems, and living together can get kind of messy. But in that mess, we take Jesus' call from John 13 seriously. We practice picking up our towel and dealing with the mess in each other's lives. We're not here just to follow the rules for 4 years. Instead, we hope to learn to live authentic lives, calling each other to lives of meaning. Every day, our focus remains on the 40, not just the 4. We'd love to show you more about Taylor. Come visit, sit in on a class, go to chapel, spend a night in a residence hall. Experience the difference for yourself.
What limits you? Too small, too old, insecure, broken. You have no limits. Rethink your limits.
When you need the fuel to be your nephew's #1 fan, Holiday Inn Express. We're there, so you can be too.
Your heart, well, your heart is everything to you and your body, and its favorite place to be is home. Marion General Hospital has been named a nationally accredited chest pain center, which is the highest accomplishment in cardiovascular care. We are proud to provide our community with a team of cardiac experts throughout MGH. From our ambulance and emergency room to our cardiovascular departments in partnership with our experienced local cardiologists and interventional cardiologists from St. Vincent's Medical Group. The same level of cardiovascular expertise in bigger cities at larger hospitals is available right here. Everyone has their expertise. At MGH, our expertise is your heart, bringing the best in the nation home to you. Your heart is in the right place at MGH.
Second half about to get underway here from Turner Stadium. We are tied at 1 between Taylor and Spring Arbor. Your goal scorers Cole Russell for SAU in the first half, coming in the 19th minute. And coming in the 36th minute was Taylor's Quinn Partain with a penalty kick tally. Other scores of Taylor teams from around the country tonight. The women's soccer team up at Spring Arbor, they trail 1-0 at halftime. And in the third set, Taylor volleyball down to the defending national champion Marion after evening the match at 1 set apiece. Both those teams will be home here on Saturday, but right now it's men's soccer v Spring Arbor as Hardy tried to play to the near side in Partain. Cutting off was Tyler Green. A challenge from behind as Holwerda was slow to get back to his feet and then took a seat down as the play will be stopped 40 seconds in to the second half. And Holwerda pops back to his feet and has recovered. Holwerda was unhappy with something going on with Tyler Green. And it's good to see that Holwerda will be able to stay in the match here after missing a handful of weeks with a lower body injury. Spring Arbor from left to right here in this second half. They are in the blue uniforms with white numbers and white letters trimmed in neon yellow with the yellow shorts and the navy blue socks. Taylor in the home whites with white jerseys, white shorts, purple pinstripes on those uniforms, and the purple numbers. Big throw in far side, McNeil. Flag in the air far side. It's a handball off of SAU. And Taylor will have a free kick on the far side. 11 shots to 9 in favor of Spring Arbor in the opening half. Taylor had 7 shots on goal to SAU 6. 4 saves for Joaquin Hansen, 3 for Christopher Banfi. of SAU. Quinn Partain, the top shot man for Taylor in the first half with 5, no one with more than 1. Cole Russell and Serrani each had 3 for SAU. Here's the aforementioned Partain on the far side of the field. This can play in beautifully with his left foot. The wind at Taylor's back here early in the second half. A low screamer in. Banfi got a piece onto the back end. Gallup was there. A defender was in front of him. And it'll be another corner kick for the Trojans. Tip your cap to it looked like Trevor Taylor, who was in front of Gallup on the back end, prevented Gallup from deflecting that one home. Or make it Shefku maybe. Into the corner near side we go with number 4, Owen Hardy. Hardy has taken the majority of Taylor's now 9 corners tonight. But as he plays it in, the whistle blows, and we'll redo that one again. And now Banfi having a discussion with our lead official. Our head official has had a lot of conversations with multiple players on both teams tonight. And here we go again. Hardy near side. This one bounces in short. Trying to clear it away was SAU. Peary back there, the first one to it for either team. Curls this one far side. Hoosier had to get on side. He's got to sprint to the far corner, accelerating. He can't get there in time and hits the brakes quickly to avoid running into the far side brick wall. So just about 3 minutes into half number 2. Taylor with a good opportunity to start, but couldn't get it cleanly there on the second try at the near side corner. And SAU will play it from the back. Temperature getting close to the low 60s with that wind picking up. It's only going to be in the low 60s tomorrow. We might actually have a chance of snow or rain when we wake up tomorrow morning, as fall is going to be here in a big way starting tomorrow. Little flick from Hardy back up to Peary, who measures, dancing with it, and will push it forward to Paul McBride. Got caught on his heels, got to accelerate to the end line, couldn't save it before it went out of play. It'll be another goal kick upcoming for Christopher Banfi. We had 14 fouls between the two teams, or 13 fouls between the two teams in the opening half, and 5 cards issued. 8 fouls for Taylor, 3 yellow cards, 2 yellow cards, and 5 fouls for Spring Arbor. Banfi with the wind in his face after drilling them, his goal kicks well across midfield. Handball against Taylor here, but really used that wind to his advantage in the first half. He's going to have the wind in his face here in half 2. Aiden Taylor gets the start here in the second half for SAU after being reserved in the opening half. He and James McBride fighting for position. Taylor accelerates to the near side corner, trying to fight away with James McBride, pushing it on the end line. McNeil steps forward, couldn't clear it away as Green holds it in for SAU. Right edge of the box, trying to get to the end line and cross, shoved out of bounds by McBride. And he'll be coming off his line, and Hansen will scoop it up for TU. Thought about unfurling it with his right hand, hits the brakes, and then moves back and plays a beautiful ball that Holwerda got his toe on. Plays it back towards the far sideline, and Holwerda couldn't save it before it went out of play, but a beautiful kick there from Hansen from one end of the field almost all the way to the other. Besteman with no one around him. His pass deflected by Peary. James McBride near side to Quinn Partain. 5 minutes into the second half, 1-1, Taylor and Spring Arbor. Partain, a cross, wanted to find Holwerda, steps over the defender, kicks on, Banfi got it, Banfi clears it away as that one was loose inside the penalty area and almost inside the 6-yard box. Banfi has not been the cleanest on his catches tonight, and Taylor had another crack in making him pay for it. Couldn't see, but it looked like someone for SAU came in from behind Banfi and cleared it away as that ball was bouncing towards the open goal mouth. Fourth save of the night for Banfi, but one of his teammates gets credit for saving the SAU keeper there and keeping the match level at 1. Handball here, the ball squirts to Paul McBride. Running to the middle, long left-footed shot as Banfi's right there to smother it easily. 5th save of the night for Banfi. As that went off of a hand of SAU, Taylor was able to get the ball cleanly. Now Hoosier overplays it. Russell steps in front, and now Gallup's got to get back. He tackles Russell from behind. This will be a yellow card against Gallup. Gallup not happy with it, or is it going to be a straight red? That is going to be a straight red on Gallup as he went right into Russell and tackled him from behind. And so Gallup gets his second red card of the season, and the Trojans will have to play man down for the final 38-56. It was a misplay by the freshman Hoosier. Russell went sprinting in after it, and all Gallup could do was tackle Aiden Blue from behind, ran right through him. And that was an easy red card for our official tonight. So the physical play is ramped up once again here in our second half. And now they'll march the Taylor wall back 10 yards. This free kick will come just outside the penalty area, with Russell standing on top of it. Procopio there as well. Serrani thought about joining in on the fun. Now Green comes in to help. Now one other SCU player comes in as Green will walk in towards the penalty area. Hansing directing where he wants the now 5-man wall to go. Coming in to help is Swan. Russell backing up. He looks to be the one taking it with the left foot. He will. Curls it in through the box. Hansen got a piece of it, and it goes in. As Russell will come to the near side, his second goal of the night on an absolute beauty of a tally. And with 38:54 remaining in the second half, Spring Arbor goes back in front by 1. So second goal of the night for Russell. Pushes his team leading tally to 6. That was a beautiful free kick after the red card against Gallup. So the Trojans playing a man down for the final 38-56. Hansen got a piece of it, but it squirted on through. And Spring Arbor has gone back in front by 1. How Hansen even got a piece of that with so much commotion in front of him was impressive. And the ball just squirted on through, and now here comes pressure again. They take it away from Peary as SAU. Procopio flicking it in, Russell wrestling after it, but he's offside as the flag comes in the air. First offside of the night against Spring Arbor. Still plenty of time for Taylor to get an equalizing tally here, but they'll have to do it without one of their senior captains and one of their best defenders, Alex Gallup. This pass flicked forward, held in by SAU. Shefku back to the trailing Swan. Near side Taylor, big first touch that allowed Harold to come in and flick it away near side. Green will let it bounce out, and he'll throw it in for SAU without missing a beat. Swan, left footing one right to Webby Peary of Taylor. Peary up to Holwerda, turning one to find space. Besteman makes him retreat. James McBride had it poked away. Taylor tried to take it away from him, and now it'll go off of whom? Off of Spring Arbor. Everyone's saying it should go there in their favor. And it'll go in favor of Taylor here. Into Holwerda, bounced off of his hand. The play on is called. That's interesting. But SAU came away with the possession. Taylor, angled to his left, now darts forward. Runs through the challenge of Peary. Big first touch. It'll be bashed away by Jackson Hoosier across midfield, where Quashie will pick it up for SAU. Quick restart for the Trojans, far side of the field. As Hardy will lay it back to Peary. Russell came in from behind in the middle, and James McBride fakes a pass near side, trying to step in. A lot of defenders right there. He lost, and here comes Shefku the other way, picking up the loose change for Spring Arbor. Taylor, cross-field pass. There's Serrani, poking it forward to Russell. Has 2 goals tonight. This shot here to Hansen, and it's a hat trick for Cole Russell with 36-37 left to go here in the second half. It has been Cole Russell with all 3 of the goals tonight for Spring Arbor. His hat trick as he'll come celebrate in the near side corner with SAU. The 2 Russell goals coming 2 minutes apart. And the Taylor Trojans will regroup here in the defensive end and try to figure things out. Still plenty of time left, but it has been the Cole Russell show tonight. for Spring Arbor. He has scored all 3 of their goals on just 5 shots. And all but one of his shots on goal have found their way into the back of the net tonight. So gives Serrani the assist. That's his second assist of the night to Russell. And they've been the 2 men that have played have been the 2 factors in all the scoring for SAU. Procopio forces a turnover. Here's Serrani, big first touch. Couldn't get the deflection to calm it down, and then coming in is Shefku. Slides and keeps it away from Hardy for SAU, near side to Tyler Green. And then Green will send it back to Besteman across midfield, and to the far side to Kwashi with plenty of space to work. Back to the near side in Besteman. 36 minutes left to go here in the second half, but it's been all Cole Russell tonight here for SAU as he has scored all 3 of Spring Arbor's goals for the hat trick, and they lead Taylor 3-1. Through ball here, caught in the air. Hoosier heads it down. James McBride hops into the air into space and works it over to brother Paul. Paul has it taken away from him by Bender, and SAU operates in the center circle. They'll lay it on back to Besteman. Kwashi, then back to Besteman here again, as Procopio will wave Besteman forward. Taylor in the middle. There's Serrani onside, sweeping it forward as he glides in, diving and punching away as Hansen. Russell sends it back near side, and Hansen kicks this one away. Beautiful back-to-back saves for Joaquin Hansen. Keeps Serrani, his former teammate, off the board and keeps Russell away from getting his 4th. But a 3-1 SAU lead. Taylor's got to get some stops here and trying to get the ball to the other end and try to get some goals and get them quick. Near side corner, Serrani. Left-footed in, kicked out aggressively off of Harold, and SAU will tee up another corner from the near side. It'll be just their 3rd corner of the night after having just 1 in the opening 45 minutes. Serrani, a left-footed in-swinger. Still loose inside the penalty area. Taylor trying to clear it, squirts free. Taylor tried to bicycle kick it away. That's Aiden Taylor for SAU. Then Peary drives it away. Besteman, the only one back for SAU, heads into the far side space. There's Holwarda to jump on the loose ball for Taylor. Works it back to the middle, and Hardy wanted to come near side to Partain, but 2 defenders got in front of him, Kwashi and Green for Spring Arbor. And Partain will throw it in near side after it was deflected away. Alsate and Vanderkolk come in for Taylor, replacing Peary and Jay McBride. And Holwarda will exit as well. Partain with pressure from Taylor. Green comes in to cut him off. It'll go across the end line and off of Partain, and a goal kick here for Banfi and SAU. And our lead official comes over to talk things over with Partain once again. Matipa in there for Taylor as well. Just about 33 minutes left to go here in the second half. Spring Arbor on top 3-0 on the back of the hat trick from Cole Russell. The top goal scorer for SAU is not disappointed tonight for the Cougars, scoring all 3 of their goals. Kwashi trying to keep it away from Alsate. Hurtling in was Hardy. Got into the air, the flag in the air far side. They'll call the violation against Owen. And that draws disagreements from the Taylor faithful, as Aiden Taylor for SAU has a conversation with the Taylor bench down below us. And so Spring Arbor will try to build out of the back again after the foul against the home team. They turn it over dangerously on top of the 18. Banfi gets there just in the nick of time before it could be preyed upon by Partain. Russell to Shefku. Spins away from both Matipa and Alsate. Sends it down to Bender, who had to hit the brakes and then come back to play it. Sends it along to the corner. Serrani trying to beat McNeil to it. Serrani hits the brakes as he works back up the field far side. That'll be to his right. Back to Bender and now Shefku. Reverses the point of attack to the near side and Tyler Green. Green feels pressure from Paul McBride and then eludes him back to the center circle. Quashie plays a through ball here, checks up nicely on the turf. Bender sends a cross in. It was deflected out across the end line by McNeil. And it'll be the corner kick, fourth one of the night for Spring Arbor, this one from the far side, as opposed to the first two here in the second half that were from the near side. Serrani and Procopio, both walking over to take this one from the far corner. Matipa walking over to Mark Serrani. It'll be Procopio to take this one with that right foot. It'll come into the right of the keeper, Joaquin Hansen, for Taylor. Right hand in the air from Procopio. Stutter step and lays it off to Serrani. Back to the cutting Procopio. Far side of the field, pushes it on to Shefku. Then back to Procopio, who plays it into the box. Right to Taylor's Clay Vanderkolk, who flicks a header back up to midfield, held in by Swan. Near side play, Bender. Trying to find Green. Nice slide tackle by Vanderkolk to keep that ball out of play. Aiden Taylor will throw it in for SAU, just a step or two. That ball was from being a corner kick. Taylor backs up onto the concrete. Will run forward and heave it in. A line drive into the penalty area, goes off of Russell's leg and out of play. Taylor will have the goal kick here. A half hour left to go in this one. Taylor down 3-1 after the 2 goals here in the second half by Cole Russell. He's got a hat trick after scoring in the 19th minute back in half number 1. His other 2 goals in the 52nd and 54th minute here tonight. Taylor playing with Alex Gallup after getting a red card with just less than 39 minutes remaining in this one. So Taylor's had to play a man down for the majority of this second half. Big bounce here. Paul McBride trying to use his speed around Besteman. Banfi comes in to bail him out, but this one gets caught in the air and goes 1.5 miles in the air. Partain had to go off of his knee. SAU had to regroup with Shefku in the middle. Far side pass, Bender eludes Hardy. Serrani trying to joust with McNeil. It goes off of the Trojans. And Bender will throw it in far sideline for Spring Arbor as they shoot on the goal to our right here in the second half. 16 shots to 11 in favor of SAU. They've also outshot Taylor 10-9 in shots on goal. They lead the Trojans by 2 here, 3-1. Taylor a good header. Nobody there in blue, however, for the Cougars. Hoosier clears it away for TU. P. McBride got his head on, and now he's got open space to run near side. Nobody back to help, so McBride's got to hit the brakes as Matipa cuts in front of him, and he dishes off. Matipa, one of the back heel flick to Paul McBride, trying to work back near side. Curls one to Vanderkolk in the middle. Left footing 140. He's taken down in the middle, and the foul called against SAU as both Vanderkolk and Green slow to get back to their feet. So the foul looks to be going against Tyler Green, the SAU captain. And now time will be stopped with 28-27 remaining here in the second half. Vanderkolk back up, and Green both back to their feet as well. Taylor down 3-1 with 28-27 left to go here tonight. But a good free kick opportunity for the Trojans. About 9 yards outside of the box. The ball placed right in the middle of the field with both Partain and Hardy standing over it. Hardy scored the first of Taylor's 2 goals in their 2-1 win over Goshen on Saturday on a play almost exactly like this. We'll see if Hardy's the one to take it here. He will be. Right foot in through the wall, but right and waiting for it, right in line to Banfi, who didn't have to move. Try to get a little bit of pace on it, couldn't get a high enough bounce as that ball bounced right into Banfi's midsection. And the SAU keeper will roll it out, and now Spring Arbor will build from the back once again. Swan to Quashie for SAU. And coming back to help is Shefku. And now Swan. And Besteman. Besteman with all types of room to work. Looks a little pass to right to midfield, and the Trojan purple head at midfield to Serrani. They wanted him. Hansen came out, plays it with his feet amongst traffic, and plays a pinpoint pass about 20 yards to Matipa. Taylor plays it between Partaine's legs. Quinn able to regroup and get back on it with Taylor tugging on his white uniform. Vanderkolk back to Harold for Taylor. The pressure comes from Aiden Taylor. And Harold plays it over the head of Paul McBride, trying to go from one end to the other. This ball flicked in the air by Bestam into the near side. McBride giving chase. This one cleared into space. Vanderkolk, good read, bashes it in deep, too far for anyone in white to make a play on it. And so Banfield will have a goal kick here for SAU, with Holwarda and James McBride returning for the Trojans. And the ball was played in, but maybe too quick. They're going to send Hardy off. Hardy thought he was in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, the Trojans. And now here comes Hardy back on. Or was he allowed? Yep, he's good. Harold had that one go off the back of his heels. And Green will readjust his navy blue socks and throw it in. Right down below us, right near midfield. Russell, a little back heel flick nicely into Serrani, kicks it into space. Vanderkolk comes in, was able to beat Aiden Taylor to it. This one will go out near side for a throw-in from Green of SAU. Green into Taylor, shoved down by Hoosier. And a quick foul against the Trojans. That's their 11th tonight. SAU with just 6. The Trojans have been the much more physical team here this evening with 4 cards to their name and 11 fouls. Procopio stands over this free kick near sideline, as both Serrani stands there as well. 24-55 and counting here in the second half. Spring Arbor on top 3-1 after the hat trick from Cole Russell. Serrani curls one in. James McBride got his head on it and deflected it away. This will be a corner from the near side here for SAU. Great pace on that free kick from Serrani, something we saw him do plenty when he was here 3 years ago as a freshman. 70 degrees right now, but that wind is making things quite chilly. Taylor with the wind at their back, but they have not been unable to use it here in the second half so far. Shevku's shot blocked by Hardy. McBride up to the sprinting Owen Hardy as he works to the middle and bangs one all the way to Holwarda, who was offside, and that's a bad call. Holwarda was a yard or two to the good, but he's whistled for the offside. Taylor head coach Gary Ross can't believe it down below us. Same for the Taylor students in the bleachers down below us. Less than 24 minutes remaining in this one. It's been the Cole Russell show tonight for Spring Arbor. His hat trick has accounted for all 3 of SAU goals tonight. Vanderkolk, good takeaway here. Pass too far for P. McBride to handle, and SAU able to clear it up to Taylor. Laying it back to Green. Harold marking him. And Procopio finds Aiden Taylor near side as Harold sprints to pounce on top. Procopio measuring, finds the cutting Green, right edge of the penalty area, flicks one in backside of the box, nobody there. Serrani sends a riser that goes wide to the far side. Caleb Dupree will make his first second half appearance after starting the first half off for SAU, and he'll go get Serrani, the former Taylor Trojan. Dupree, a 5'9" senior out of Flint, Michigan. And the goal kick from Hansen headed right back into the attacking half for SAU by the Cougars. Hardy, good flick. Here's Paul McBride running, trying to play it around Besteman and use that speed. Too hard, and then Besteman slips, but it went off of who? It went off of Besteman, so Taylor's got a corner here near side. Their 10th corner of the night, and Owen Hardy will take another one. He's taken the bulk of these tonight. As Matip will return for the Trojans, and Ben Dykstra will make his first appearance tonight for Spring Arbor. Dykstra, a 6'1 sophomore out of Hudsonville, Michigan. He'll replace Owen Swan at the midfield position. 22 minutes left to go in this one. Taylor down 3-1. The Trojans are still in search of their first home win of the year. Come in 0-5. Hardy, a high one to the backside. Hoosier trying to box things out. He and Vanderkolk were there. It went out of bounds off of Kwashi, off of his shoulder. And Taylor will go to the far side and take this corner kick. No Partain as he's down on the Taylor bench getting a breather. And so it'll be his former Wheaton Academy high school mate, Luke Holwerda, to take it from the far sideline, or from the far corner, excuse me. This will come into the left of Banfi. An in-swinger deflected in towards the back of the box, and Vanderkolk trying to knock it down in a fight with the bigger Kwashi. And then Kwashi gets into it with Vanderkolk, and the foul goes against Kwashi as he used his arm to box out Vanderkolk. Bashi had the size advantage in a big way, but got too physical with the arm, and he was able to keep Vanderkolk at bay, but illegally. We approach 21 minutes remaining here in the second half. Taylor down 3-1 to Spring Arbor, with Alsate ready to take the near side corner kick, the near side free kick. This one squirts on the turf, deflected back, poked away before it could find McBride. And Musa clears it away, but all across the far sideline, too far for Aiden Taylor to get to. And Taylor will regroup and throw it in. That'll be the Taylor Trojans, not Aiden Taylor. McNeil wanted Holwerda. Musa clears it away. And McNeil will throw it in once again, but not before Quinn Partain will come back in for Taylor. He'll replace Holwerda. Just 3 shots for Taylor here in the second half. All of them have been on goal. But SAU has outshot the Taylor Trojans 7-3 here in the second half. They've gotten 2 goals, both from Russell Matipa. Turns, fires, and sends a left-footed shot high over the crossbar, and a goal kick upcoming for SAU. No Cole Gilliam for Taylor tonight after getting the red card Saturday at Goshen, so the Trojans have felt that loss tonight. He'll be back Saturday at Huntington. As Banfi kicks this one into the air, the wind catches it heavily and prevents it from going anywhere near midfield. Musa plays it off the feet of Taylor's John Alsate, and then a rocketed throw-in will have to be done again as SCU players were too far ahead. And so McNeil was ready to throw it in, but the first throw-in from Spring Arbor was too far from where it needed to be thrown in from, so they'll redo it. It'll be Aiden Taylor to take it once again, far sideline. Fakes the one to Dykstra, still looking for help. And he finds relief in Procopio. A slow one on the turf to Tyler Green. Hardy there to mark him. And then Green will flick it back to Taylor on the far edge. Comes back across midfield to get it as Taylor will move horizontally. Into the center circle to Green, and then all the way near sideline to Lutrim Shefku. Shefku back to the middle, bouncing through. Vanderkolk cuts it off before it could find the feet of Musa. Stepping in for a long-range shot, Dykstra, and that one sails off the over the crossbar. And out of play by several feet. First shot for Dykstra after sitting out the first half. Holwerda back in for Taylor. Here comes Josh Vanderstelt in his first appearance tonight for SAU. Holwerda will get Alsate for TU. And the goal scorer, Russell, will exit for Spring Arbor. His hat trick, the difference tonight, as he's outscored Taylor 3-1 all by himself. And Russell has been fantastic tonight for SAU. As Vanderkolk foreheads one into the air. Matipa jostling with Kwashi. And they'll get Matipa for the foul as he went for the body of Kwashi instead of going after the ball. 12th foul against Taylor tonight. And a free kick for SAU from their defensive half with 17:30 remaining here in half number 2. Besteman back to Kwashi as SAU elects to build out of the defensive end, something they've done very well tonight. Hoosier got his head on it, couldn't keep it moving forward. This ball played underneath the feet of Dupree for SAU. And T will throw it in far sideline as they go from right to left with the wind at their backs in white. Paul McBride back in for TU. He replaces Vanderkolk. .16:44 and counting here in the second half. It's been the Cole Russell show tonight for SAU with a hat trick for Ayton Blue. Aiden Taylor bashes one through the wind, trying to connect with Dupree. He's able to track it down on the far edge. Moving into his right, pass to the end line. Shefku tried to cut it off. That ball went across the end line, or did it? From our vantage point, it looked like it had already gone across the end line. Shefku must have saved it by a hair. And then Taylor kicked it out of play. Corner kick number 6 upcoming for SAU tonight. It'll be their 5th one here in the second half. Slow walk for Procopio to the far corner. The sun completely set about an hour ago. That wind picking up. More and more students down below us grabbing for the heavier coats or the blankets that they brought with them. They didn't need them when the sun was out when the match started, but it is needed now with that wind really picking up here in a big way. Procopio, an in-swinger, flicked on back. Green trying to keep it moving forward. Holwerda tried to clear. Hardy legging it out, and he'll drive a right foot forward. Paul McBride trying to use his speed, trying to beat Musa to the far side. McBride's there. He's got Matipa filling in if he can dish it off to him. He does. Matipa knocks it down, far edge of the penalty area. Matipa trying to come near side. Green has it deflected back, and the only one there is his keeper. Easy work for Banfi, who has had trouble catching the ball tonight at different points. Once in the first half that Hoosier almost scored upon to tie the match at 1, and then here in the second half, early on, that would have given Taylor a lead. TU able to hold it in. Partain back to James McBride. Tight space to Matipa. Try to flick it on, but a miscommunication between Matipa and Paul McBride as the ball played into space as McBride was standing still. Holwerda heads the goal kick from Banfi. And now this is James McBride. Long pass near side. Hardy's got to leg it out. And 4 and white slides to keep it going in Taylor's favor. Pops back to his feet, hand fighting with Green, lays it off to Matipa. 2 defenders there for SAU. To the trailing James McBride, trying to figure out where he wants to go, comes to his left and passes to Hardy. 14:23 and counting here in the second half. Taylor down 3-1. Hardy just had to go away from his toes, saves it as he slides back to Harold. 2 men there. Hardy comes back into play, it just on play. Taken down by Taylor. Taylor called for the foul and gets right in the face of Owen Hardy. And now, Taylor having words with Taylor head coach Gary Ross. Aiden Taylor has been very talkative to the Taylor bench this entire night. 8th foul against SAU this evening. And Matipa's got a free kick down the near sideline, just a couple steps in front of his head coach Gary Ross. SAU flicks it in, and Banff able to pick it over the head of the shorter Paul McBride and quickly flings it out towards the far side in SAU's Dupree. Dupree hits the brakes, plays a long pass. Harold reads it and steps in front of it easily. Up to Partain, nobody behind him. The taken off of him after an aggressive first touch. Taylor to Dupree for SAU as they move into the attacking half. Back to midfield, and this will be Dykstra. Back heel flick to Matipa. Partain with 2 defenders right around him. Played it between the feet of Dykstra, but nobody there in white to pick it up, and so Shefku will scoop it up for SAU. Dykstra, this one go past him. Kwashi's got a sprint to get to it before Holwerda could pick it up for TU. McNeil stepped in front, and then SAU bashes one into the night sky. It'll check up in the air as the ball will find the feet of Aiden Taylor. Plays it back to the middle, filling in behind is Procopio. Here's Dupree, left-footed shot blocked Or just kicked out of bounds, by Dupree. It'll come out near side. Owen Hardy out. John Alzate back in for Taylor. Stephen Geip checks in for SAU. He replaces Procopio. So a goal kick for Hansen, but played it too soon before the whistle. 12-22 as Hansen trying to waste as little time as possible with his team down by a pair here in the second half. Pants with a big right boot. This one deflected back to SAU's Vanderstelt. Jackson Hoosier cuts him off. Moves it up off the chest of Alzate. John trying to save it, but it's held in by SAU. Shefku to the middle and Dykstra trying to run away from Matipa up the middle of the field. Dykstra taken down from behind. They'll get Matipa for the foul. And more disagreements coming from the Taylor students in the bleachers tonight. 13th foul against the home team this evening. And it's been fair to say the Taylor students have been unhappy with all 13 of them. 11:30 and counting. This will be a free kick from right in the middle of the field. And McNeil smartly comes down to stand in front of the ball. That forces the referee to make the team play the free kick on the whistle. Remember, last year Quinn Partain scored a game winner because the opponents were just backing, I believe it was Lord, just kept backing up. And so if you stand in front of the ball, the referee will normally have to wait, and then he'll play the ball on the whistle. So smart play there by McNeil. Here's Shefku from the middle. This one blocked by the wall of McNeil and the rest of his mates. Musa in traffic in the middle, wanted to find Green. He's hog-tied by a couple of different Taylor players, and finally Harold steps in front and knifes the ball away. Matipa, long pass in. Paul McBride onside, sprinting in. Banfree got there and kicked it away as he was step for step and came in and challenged and beat McBride there as Banfree just kicked it away before McBride could make a move. Holwerda with a back flick to Hoosier on the right edge. Hoosier trying to work back to his left. Sends it back to Partain. Little dink into space to Holwerda, read by Musa. But then McNeil steps in and shoves it forward. Here's a long-range try from the middle of the field in Matipa that sails across the over the crossbar. A lovely pass there a few moments ago to Paul McBride. But a better job by Banfree to come off his line, challenge McBride, and get to the ball before McBride can make a move. As we get 10 minutes remaining here in the second half. SAU looking for their 4th win of the year, trying to move to 4-2-1. All of their games have been against Crossroads League foes. The Trojans trying to prevent from falling to 2-7 on the year, 2-6 in league action. McNeil got his knee on it. Big deflection near side. Alzate couldn't keep it away from Green, pressing forward near sideline. This one goes off the back of Harold, and SAU will throw it in with Dupree near side of the field. And Hardy, a good young man raised by great parents, hands the ball to Green to let him throw it in. Besteman lays it on back to his keeper, Banfree. This one caught in the wind. Again, gusting up to 20 miles an hour here since opening kick. Geip able to beat the challenge of Alzate, trying to beat the challenge of Matipa, and sends it on to Musa, far side of the field. Vanderstelt couldn't keep it moving forward. McNeil to Holwerda, bump from behind by Musa. The ball rolls out of play as Musa was about a step or two away from turning and keeping it going for SAU. Free kick for the Trojans on a handball, or a foul against Musa there, for the shove from behind. And Hansen's got a big right foot, and he's got this wind at his back, even though this ball 4 yards outside midfield. If he can hit it right and ride the wind, this thing could get dangerous and tasty inside the box. It carries to the top of the penalty area, flicked in. There's McBride, knocks it down and in! Oh, how about that? With 8:19 remaining in the second half, the Trojans trying to find life. Now down 3-2 as Hansen gets his 2nd assist of the season. So Taylor still down a man But now they might have something cooking here. With 8 minutes left to go here in the second half, down a man. They've got to keep pressing forward here. Now down 3-2. Holwerda, triple team coming out of the scrum. Musa for SAU. Challenging was Hoosier, but SAU the better for it. They come out of the scrum. Musa, an aggressive first touch, almost played it back to P. McBride. Now this is the keeper, Banfi, with Partain circling around him. 7:38 to go here in the second half. Turned over, McNeil steps in, presses it forward. Falling down Holwerda, McNeil keeps trying to move it in. Peary had it there, and then it's poked away. Now it squirts down to McNeil. Up to Partain. Alzate from distance. That one almost went in as it just snuck over the crossbar from way outside. So the starters back in here for SAU. Serrani, Russell, pretty much every starter that got a breather has now come back in here for the Cougars as their 2-goal lead. Now down to 1, and now a violation and a foul against Spring Arbor. And with less than 6 minutes remaining here in this one, Taylor's got, they're going to bring Hansen here. He got an assist on the second goal, and this one is 9 yards inside midfield with the wind at his back on the goal to our left. This has been Hansen's thing this season. Now 2 assists on these long free kicks from around midfield. Here's the whistle. Right foot from Hansen. Into the 18. Holwerda flicks it on. Backside Hoosier. Lays it back. There's Hasasate. This one kicked it, deflected off, and it goes out across the end line as Taylor just continues to knock on the door of trying to tie our match at 1. Or at 3, excuse me. So here's a free kick with Alzate with 5:10 to go in half number 2. Taylor has been so close to leveling the match at 3. Backside play. This one knocked down. Looked might be by a hand. Peary stepped in front, tried to keep it going for Taylor, and now Russell comes sprinting out of the scrum in a foot race here with the McBrides. Back heel flick, James McBride pressed on deep by SAU. James jumps on top of it with 4:45 to go here in the second half. Taylor down by 1 after the goal from Paul McBride made it 3-2 SAU. Green knocks it high in the air, comes to the near sideline. And that'll be Shefku. To Green. Back to Green in the middle. SAU's best friend right now is the clock. Serrani darting in to the end line, can't save it. A late call from our near side official. As that was a way slow call there. And with 4:08 remaining here, Hansen will have the goal kick with the wind at his back. Hansen right foots one forward. Knocked down into space by SAU. McNeil's right there, flicks it on. Partain was onside, but Banfi able to make easy work of that one. And now he'll take as much time as he's allowed with the clock at 3:40 and winding here in the second half, and SAU leading by 1. Banfi puts it on the ground, drives one into that hard wind. It checks up, and that allows McNeil to head it down. Musa moves it forward. Hoosier got his head on it, kicked down by SAU, and they volley one high into the air. Russell trying to find it above his head. Hoosier Right foot's one in. Besteman plays it back to where it came from, over to our right. Hoosier hustling after it. Good pressure from Paul McBride from behind. He gets whistled for the foul. That's number 14 against Taylor tonight. And that allows SAU to burn more clock here with 3:01 remaining in the second half, and Spring Arbor leading by 1. And Quashita standing over this free kick and plays it to Taylor on the left edge. Right foot's one to the middle. Harold keeps away from Serrani. And now Sate on top of it for Taylor, but Serrani takes it away from behind. Serrani sprinting to the end line. His cross blocked. It goes out, and it'll be a corner for SAU from the near side with 2:33 left to go in regulation, and Spring Arbor leading by 1. And Serrani will take as much time as he's allowed here, and wisely slow. So the clock is his friend right now, with Spring Arbor's once 2-goal advantage now down to 1. And SAU will just play in the corner. Peary comes trying to muscle his way through 2 other players as Shefku trying to kill the time in the near side corner. And then Serrani has a go off of Peary. The Taylor fans not happy with the tactics here for SAU, but this is the smart thing to do with less than 2 minutes remaining. Just stand on the ball here in the corner and don't let Taylor do anything with it. They're going to move Partain back. And now it'll be Taylor in the near side corner. Partain trying to get to it. The flag taken down. There was a whole lot of pushing and shoving going on down there as the ball squirts out to Shefku on the near sideline. 90 seconds left to go here. He works it back into the corner. Taylor has it. Now he tries to play keep away in the corner. Coming in and bashing it away are the Trojans. Partain was in there too. Now it's back to Alsate near side. With 1:18 remaining in the second half, Hoosier's got to find it over his right shoulder. Sprinting in to take the long pass is Musa, as he tries to swim move Hoosier far side, and with 68 seconds left, Taylor's got one final push here as Hoosier fires one up towards intended for Holwerda. And here's a minute remaining. Taylor down by 1 as Hoosier throws it in. Flicked on back. Here's Paul McBride. His pass trying to find a cutter was flicked in. This one goes hard off of McNeil. And went off of McNeil. He can't believe it, saying that Spring Arbor touched it after he did. And that just might do it for Taylor's chances to level our match at 3 with 40 seconds remaining in the second half. And Banfi will use as much time as he's allowed here. So he might not play this one before we get to 25 seconds left on the clock. He'll play it when it's 29. Out to the far sideline. It sails out of play, and McNeil will throw it in with 22 seconds left. Musa heads it in the air for SAU with 18 seconds left. McBride, that's Paul, throws it in far side to Holwerda with 14 seconds. His cross blocked. Out of bounds, throwing it in with 9 seconds. Into the box with 8, with 7, with 6 and 5 and 4. End line blocked. And it'll be a goal kick for SAU, and that will be how this one ends tonight. SAU needed all 3 of Cole Russell's goals tonight to come away with the win after the goal in the 82nd minute by Paul McBride tonight. Your final is Spring Arbor 3, Taylor 2. The Cougars improve to 4-2-1 on the year, 4-2-1 in Crossroads League play. They now have 13 points in league action this season. The Trojans now sit at 2-7 overall, 2-6 in league action, and Taylor now 0-6 here at home. Spring Arbor is now 2-1 on the road this year. Your goal scorers tonight, it all started with Cole Russell in the 19th minute on the assist from Serrani. Off the deflection off the Hansen save, it would be Russell who buried the shot in the back of the goal. And then the Trojans would tie it after having a goal taken off the board in the, let me find my math here, in the 27th minute, when it looked like Matt Harold had scored his first career goal. It was taken away after he was ruled for being offside on the near side post. But then the Trojans would get a penalty kick after McNeil was tackled inside the penalty area by the keeper, Banfi. It would be Quinn Partain who stepped up, scored his second goal of the season as he scored on the Trojans' first penalty kick try of the year. That's how we would go to halftime, tied at 1. And then it would be back-to-back goals within 2 minutes by Cole Russell. First on a free kick after the red card to Alex Gallup. And then it was Serrani again who found Russell in the 54th minute to put SAU ahead 3-1. The Trojans have a couple more opportunities before Paul McBride would score off of a long free kick assist from keeper Joaquin Hansen in the 82nd minute. And then another opportunity just a few minutes later just sailed over the crossbar as the Trojans were an inch or so away from an Alzate strike that was almost going to tie the match at 3. It just sailed over the crossbar. Taylor have a couple more opportunities but could not find the back of the net as Spring Arbor comes away with a win tonight by a final of 3-2. The Trojans are at Huntington coming up on Saturday. They're back here one more time before the end of the season. We'll take a look at that Trojan schedule here really quick. So wait for the page to load. Taylor is at Huntington on Saturday. They're at Marion next Wednesday. They're back here for 2 more home matches. Mount Vernon Nazarene on October 24th and then St. Francis on Halloween to wrap up the regular season. Special thanks to Ashton Whitman and Abby Goebel, our camera and computer operators tonight, and we thank you folks for tuning in here tonight as well. As always, the executive producer of the Trojan Sports Network is Cameron Andry. And before we go again, I do want to say one more time, we are sending our thoughts and prayers to the family of Andrew Lutkehans, who sadly passed away from cancer just 2 days ago. He passed away at the age of 25. He graduated from Taylor here in 2018. He was a member of the Taylor men's soccer team during his whole time here on the Upland campus. He was a fantastic young man, and we send our thoughts and prayers to the Lutkehans family, his wife's family, and of course the Taylor men's soccer family, all of his teammates, the likes of Jeremiah Rader and Gabe Saliba among them, who had the chance to not only be a teammate but also get to spend time and be his friend as well. Again, he was a fantastic young man. We dedicate tonight's broadcast and the remaining men's soccer broadcast of the season to Hans's memory. If you haven't had a chance, a fantastic feature that it was an honor of mine to tell. The title of that feature is Keep Truckin', Don't Quit. If you search for it on YouTube, it should show up. If you can't find it, just go to our TSN Features playlist on our YouTube channel. You can find it. It is a long feature, but it is well worth your time. It really gives you a great insight to the fantastic young man that Andrew Lutkehans was, and is a young man that I know I will never forget. I know the men's soccer team will never forget as well. So we wish the best and thoughts and prayers with the Lutkehans family, his friends, and those associated with the Taylor men's soccer team tonight. With that, we say goodnight from Upland, Indiana.
Your heart, well, your heart is everything to you and your body, and its favorite place to be is home. Marion General Hospital has been named a nationally accredited chest pain center, which is the highest accomplishment in cardiovascular care. We are proud to provide our community with a team of cardiac experts throughout MGH. From our ambulance and emergency room to our cardiovascular departments in partnership with our experienced local cardiologists and interventional cardiologists from St. Vincent's Medical Group.